Here we are for the last part, kind of. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Now I'm doing part 3 of my eBay book haul. So lucky me today, or unlucky me today, I received I think like 5 eBay packages all in one shot today. So I'm really helping the postage system here in Canada and also in the United States from all the shipping that I've been doing. So I'm very excited that eBay has shipped these really quickly, or the sellers have shipped them very quickly, and that the post offices are very good and trained at getting me the packages, because now I have 5 of them. So once again, it's the same kind of deal where I buy like specific authors and their specific lots or specific themed lots. And then I'm just going to go through the titles very quickly, show you guys the step back, show you guys the condition, and so that you guys can get some ideas of what you want to buy and look for on eBay. So let's get started. So for the first stack that I'm going to show you is actually my Selise Bradley. Selise Bradley is actually an author that I read like 3 to 4 years ago. I actually read only 1 book by her, or maybe 2 now, and I was just really impressed with her writing and like how she developed her plot lines that I collected all her books. So what I did was I actually visited a bunch of thrift shops here in like Toronto and here in Canada, and I just looked around for her titles, and I ended up collecting a fair share amount of her titles and her books. But obviously with her shops you can't collect like the whole series unless like you're really lucky that day and someone actually donated all those books in that one day and you were just so lucky to purchase it all in one shot. So what happened was that I found a lot on Selise Bradley titles that had some of the titles that I actually couldn't find in thrift shops. So I'm super excited about this, and I just want to show you so that you guys can actually have another new to you author that you guys should try out, because I know that a lot of people here on Romance BookTube are talking about, you know, the same historical romance authors like Tessa Dare, Lisa Kleypas, Joanna Lindsay. Let's go try something new. So the first book that I own from Selise Bradley now is Rogue in My Arms, and I absolutely love the step backs of this. Like, it's just really pretty, really gorgeous. I love it so much. This sticker easily can be removed off if you just use a hair dryer and you just gently blow on like the side where the sticker is stuck on, and then you could just slowly scrape it off. Totally easy, not too phased. Then the second book that I got just so happens has a sticker that covers her face, but it's called I Be Wed. And now here's a funny story about what happened is that I actually put in a purchase of some new historical romance books at the bookstore, and I wanted to add something else to my cart so that I can make it like kind of like over $50 and that I could like save more money with my coupon. And I ended up adding a copy of this one thinking that I didn't have this in my Selise Bradley lot. So I'm gonna have to return that book as soon as it comes, but it's totally fine. It's totally okay. The back is just boring and there's no step back. So these books were actually published not from Avon Books. This one's published from Penguin, so you could already tell like the differences in covers and also in quality of the print. Then the next book that I picked up is The Pretender, and I just really like the cover of this one because this one is not damaged at all. I was like inspecting the spines and I noticed that there's like no creases and no crack. I really love how people just take care of their books. And then the next book that I have is A Courtesan's Guide to Getting Your Man, and this one just sounds like it's going to be about a female character who's going to seduce a man or something like that. So I'm excited. It also says Susan Donovan, so I'm not sure if maybe it's just like it's a 2-story historical romance, so I guess it's just 2 short stories, and one is by Selise Bradley and the other one's by Susan Donovan, so I'm quite excited for that one as well. Then we have Seducing the Spy, which is a series that I forget the name too, but this series is the series that I really want to finish collecting because I really like spy historical romances. Because if you are scared that historical romances are dragging for you, or you're just scared that it's going to be boring because it's going to be talking about a lot of like history and like historical terms, then I really suggest you picking up some kind of like a historical romance that has suspense and also has action elements to it, so that it could keep you in the story and keep you interested and invested. So Seducing the Spy obviously has a spy in it, and it also has a lot of action. I think I read one book in this series and I really enjoyed it. So I'm super excited to finish collecting the series. Then the next book that I have is Duke Most Wanted. And once again, we have a gorgeous step back like this one. I really, really like the close-ups. Like the faraways are nice, but the close-ups really do show you the emotions of the characters. And this one is fairly good condition as well. So speaking of authors that everybody is familiar with here on Romance Booktube, I actually ended up purchasing a few more Joanna Lindsay titles that have the vintage covers. I have to blame my friends Lacey and Jessica and whoever else on Bookstagram that post pictures of these beautiful vintage covers on them because I just want to collect them all. So the first Joanna Lindsay book that I purchased in this lot is now called A Heart So Wild, and it looks pretty like this, and I really like the dramatic covering of this. I have no idea what this book is about. Hopefully it's not Western. I'm not too sure, but if it is, I'll bear it. And then the next book that I got is Warrior's Woman. I think this is sci-fi. Like, I think this is like the sci-fi Joanna Lindsay one that takes place in the future of 2139. So I'm excited to see how old school sci-fi is and like if it's like really good or not. Then the last one I have is Savage Thunder. And I just want to say that this edition of Savage Thunder, or this cover, this copy that I have, such good condition. Like, look at this. It's still shiny. There's no creases on the cover. It's just the spine's a little bit beat up. The back is perfect too. Like, I love it. So for Savage Thunder, it's actually kind of like a funny story because Lily C. Reads is a booktuber that I used to watch when I was still in university, so a couple years ago. And I loved Lily C. because like she's very real with her reviews, and I aspired to review my books kind of like her, with like a little bit of humor, with a little bit darkness, and she's just keeping it real and she's not gonna sugarcoat things for you. So she ended up actually reading Savage Thunder. I think she just picked it up at a bookstore because it was cheap. It was 50 cents or something. And then she ripped it a new a-hole because she just absolutely hated it. I think there was a lot of consensual issues in this, and she rightfully ripped it into it because like the plot lines didn't make sense, the character motivations didn't make sense, and also the characters didn't make sense. So I'm not too sure if I'm gonna like Savage Thunder, but I'm excited to own a copy of it because even though she was roasting it and even though there was like a lot of problematic reviews, I kind of did really still like the cover of this. So I'm excited, and I think this one is a Western romance. So we're gonna quickly go through some Amanda Quick titles that I picked up. So Amanda Quick is an author that I never really paid close attention to because, I don't know, like her titles just never popped out to me. Her synopsises I didn't really want to like check out. But my friend Lacey actually started collecting Amanda Quick, and I was easily influenced again, so I picked up 3 Amanda Quick titles with my Joanna Lindsay lot because it was actually a very big lot, and then I asked the seller if he could break it down so that I could only buy 6 books, have a cheaper price, and therefore a cheaper shipping, and he was able to do that, so I bought these for a cheaper price. And then so first one we have is Ravished, and it comes with a step back like this, like a collage. My friends really like these collage step backs, but they're okay to me. Like, I'm not like very intrigued by it, like Selise Bradley. And then we have Reckless, and then it's another collage. It has a boat in the back, so I think it's a pirate. I really do hope it's a pirate romance because I love my pirate historical romances. And then we have another collage step back for Scandal. So for the next few titles that I'll be showing you, it's just like random assorted titles that I got in this 16 book lot. So what happened was that there's this seller that was selling over 60 books on eBay, but in lots of 10. And it was like a mix mash, right? And then I saw some titles that I really wanted from other lots, and I saw some other titles I really wanted out of other lots. But then it meant that I had some books that I didn't want at all. So I asked him if it was okay if he could just break it all for me, and that just gives me like the titles I actually want. So I sent him a message, asked if he could break it, and then I gave him the list of 16 titles I actually did want, and he was like, sure, I'll do it for you. And then he updated the listing, and then he updated the pictures, showed me exactly what I was getting, and I ended up picking up some random titles. So let's go through them. So the first title that I got is a Kat Martin book. It's called Perfect Sin. I think I have a copy of this book already, but I'm not too sure. but maybe I don't, because the step back of this is just really pretty. So Lacey from Lacey Book Lovers, she is doing her collection, or she wants to collect all Kat Martin step backs because they're always like double pages and they're full color. And I wanted to do that too because they're so pretty. But then I also know that I own all of her new editions of her historical romances. So then I'll be getting duplicates and it just wouldn't make sense. I mean, unless like on eBay, I saw a listing for very cheap, then maybe I'll go buy it. But then other than that, I'm probably not going to go on my big hunt for it. Then the next book that I got is a Shanna Galen book called Blackthorn's Bride. And I really like her dress of this. I really like white dresses. They just look so pretty. And then the back is kind of boring like this. Then we have Donna McMeans, The Seduction of a Duke. Oh my god, the closer I look at her face, the more I realize that her face is very distorted. Like, I don't think this is based on a model. No way. Like, no way this face. She looks like she's doing that. So I'm pretty sure this one's just an artist drawing it. But you know what? I still kind of appreciate it. I still really like it because she's reading a book. So maybe she's bookish. I really like bookish characters. And then we have Gail Callan's Surrender to the Earl. Really nice. Does not have a step back. Does not really have anything. Pretty good condition. And then the next two books that I have is actually from Sandra Hill. Sandra Hill is an author that I never read before, but I'm interested in reading her because I've seen her titles a lot everywhere. And this one just so happens to be probably from the same series because they're about Vikings. Now, I've read two books now that are about Vikings, and I really liked it. They're both from Joanna Lindsay. It's Hearts of Flame, and also the other one, Fires of Winter. So I liked Hearts of Flame, which is about a Viking, and Fires of Winter is also about a Viking, but I just didn't really like that one. But I'm excited to try Vikings. So this one is called The Viking's Captive, which I already like already. And then we have The Viking Takes a Knight. So there's a knight. I like knights, or at least I want to try to like knights. And then the last book that I have is actually a Tessa Dare novel. This one is actually her series that is from Valentine Books. And this book is called 3 Nights with a Scoundrel. So I did a whole video about reading all of Tessa Dare's novels that were actually printed from Avon Books. And I never read this series before, but a lot of people have been asking me like, can you try that series and let us know if it's actually good? So maybe after reading this one, I'll be convinced to actually try her other series. And then moving on, we have a Suzanne Enoch like little bit book haul. Like I saw some titles from those lots that I was breaking down, so I picked up some copies. So the first book that I got is A Beginner's Guide to Rakes. And then it has a beautiful step back like this one. So for this one, I actually picked up the audiobook of this way before it actually arrived. And I was listening to it. I didn't really quite like it. I did not like it. I thought it was kind of slow paced and I just couldn't get my head into it. But it's probably me because right now I actually can't pay attention to audiobooks too much because my brain's just not working that way. And I prefer reading physical books better. So I think I'm going to give this one another try to see if it's actually me or if it's actually the book. So I'm still excited to read it, but right now it's probably on the back burner. The second book that I got from Suzanne Enoch is The Care and Taming of a Rogue. And then we have After the Kiss. Beautiful step back like this. And then we have Sins of a Duke, which is a beautiful like ombre cover, which I really like. And I really like the step back of this. So I have a growing collection of Suzanne Enoch books. If anybody has read a Suzanne Enoch book before and you've actually liked it or you didn't like it, please let me know in the comments to see if I wasted my money or not. And then finally, we have our last assortment of mixed books before I move on to my next author that I started collecting. So the first book that I have is a Laura Lee Gurk book called The Marriage Bed. And I have a couple of Laura's books on my shelves. Love the synopsises of them. Never read any of them before, but I really like it. So then that's why I want to collect some of her books. So the back is this really pretty, beautiful purple one, and I really enjoy it. Next book, we have Beauty and the Spy. So once again, it's a spy romance. I really like it. So I guess he's the spy because it's Beauty and the Spy. Then we have a Julie Garwood book called Prince Charming. I don't think I have this one. I'm not sure if I have this one or not. We'll see. And then we have a Julian McLean book called An Affair Most Wicked. Very beautiful white cover over here. Back is just kind of plain. And then finally we have Sophia Nash, Love with the Perfect Scoundrel. Pretty, but it doesn't have a step back, which I suspect the other editions do have a step back. And then the back is like this. So finally moving on, we are moving on to my most anticipated, like my most magnifique lot that I've collected on eBay that I'm really kind of proud of that I got it. But this one was actually like a bid. So I actually had to bid to win it. And then at the last like 11 minutes, some person was trying to outbid me. And it just kept getting higher and higher in price when I should have just bought it like straight out instead of doing the bidding competition. But this lot is my most anticipated lot because it's actually a Monica McCarty lot. I forgot who, but someone in my last video commented in the comments going like, Monica McCarty is their new favorite historical romance author. And I was like, girl, same. Because I read one Highlander romance from her and I had to go collect all her books because I just love the way she writes. I love her like synopsises. I love like her heroes and her characters. Like it's just so sexy too. If you guys want like a really hot romance, then definitely try Monica McCarty's lot if you like Highlanders. So she's the one that converted me into a Highlander historical romance fan. So I'm excited for it. So the first book that I have to show you is The Hawk. So this series is part of a Highland Guard novel series. And so this lot doesn't actually contain all the books of the Highland Guard novels. So what I did was that I bought the missing 4 titles, I think, that I didn't have from the bookstore. And they're coming today. Soon. And these books are like, this book series, it has at least like, I swear to God, like 15 books or something. Like it's really long. So if I do end up reading the whole series, I'm gonna pat myself on the back. The second book that I have is The Recruit. Then I have The Ranger. Then I have The Striker, The Ghost, The Viper, The Saint, The Chief. Now, The Chief, I believe, is book number 1, and the seller who sold these books to me were actually really cute because they labeled the books like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So then it's like for their purposes, when they're reading, they know like which book comes in which order so they can read in order. And then the last book that I purchased is actually another Monica McCarty book. It came in the same lot, but this one is not part of her historical romance series. This one is actually kind of like a romantic suspense book called Off the Grid. The Last Platoon series, and Lacey actually read the series and she really enjoyed the series, so who knows, maybe someday I'll do romance reader tries a romantic suspense genre. But anyways, that is it for all the historical romances that I've collected on eBay. Actually, you know what, now that I think about it, I have a box downstairs that I never showed you guys, mostly because it's downstairs and those titles are not interesting. Like they're like the randoms that were added into the lot to make the lot bigger, but I kept them just in case I wanted them. So you don't really need to see them, but just know that there's a box downstairs in my living room that I didn't show you yet. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and hopefully you guys found some new titles to add to your cart or that has been brought up to your attention and to be added to your TBR. Until next time, I'll see you guys again. Bye.